How did we get connected? How did this happen?
Through Instagram. My girl Kazumi.
She put you on too.
She was with 50 guys in one night. It was wild. And
Were you there?
No, I wasn't there.
Okay, just making sure.
Would you be into that kind of thing? Is that a little much for you?
It's a little much, but I'd be like interested. Like I'm intrigued by the whole story. Like,
yeah.
How did that go down? Like what? Like who told you about that? Like I want to know. It's interesting to me.
Yeah, she tried to backtrack and say it might be 37.
37. Okay.
My thing is though, like, is she the only girl at the party that's getting her shit blown out?
No, not
Well,
at all.
There's be like another girl.
No, there's probably way more than other girls. There's multiple girls there. They just, that's their thing. They want to have fun.
But what's like the requirement? Like you need to get tested before you go to the party, or
I would think you need to, but
probably not.
I think she said they weren't wearing rubbers.
I think these days they're more worried about COVID. Like, have you had your COVID vaccination?
I don't think this was during COVID, although it might have been for all I know.
For sure might have been during COVID.
Yeah.
I've heard of the thing. It's just not like to me, it's just more like of a wild thing. Like, oh fuck, that sounds hella interesting.
No,
like
but she said she did
like
it
I
hella
didn't even
times.
know there was that type of thing.
They be doing gangbangs, but I didn't know.
I did hear that.
50 is just like a industrial number. Like, what, you have a fucking conveyor belt of men?
That
like,
was one night.
I guess, yeah.
That's not even my body count. I'm like in the 30s, almost 40s, but 50 in one night?
Yeah.
She's a legend, fool.
Yeah.
She's a fucking legend. She's badass.
She did.
All conversations lead to Kazumi on this podcast lately because everybody just is so fucking blown away by that.
I love her.
It's such a
I've worked with her
consistent thing.
firsthand, and she's hella cool.
Because when we interviewed Eliza, and all she said was that she slurped up 7 NBA players. That was the most viral shit ever.
And the
That's
world.
kind of boring because who hasn't slurped up 7 NBA players? Like,
Right, yeah, everybody got to
like
do that.
Kazumi, she's just wild.
50 is so much more than 7.
I mean, I haven't.
Yeah, but whose tax bracket is better?
Definitely NBA
There's
players.
7 NBA players, so it makes it a
Probably.
little.
I mean, they pay for silence. Who's not gonna?
Exactly. And the girls are like the dudes at the fucking 50 guy gangbang. I guarantee they were doing construction and working at Jack in the Box and shit.
Probably.
And they were for sure bragging, like, yeah, yesterday me and 50 of the homies fuck bitches with no rubber.
The whole squad, the whole neighborhood. We got to stop talking about her. It's getting out of control. I fuck with her though. She's tight.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
She's tight.
She makes her pussy talk.
All right. So where are you from?
I'm from NorCal, like
Okay.
Central Cal, like by Sacramento.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And
It's just chill, low key.
okay. And what was your upbringing like?
It was bad. Like my dad died when I was a baby. My mom was a single mom, just like doing the best she could. Like I had 2 siblings that were like crazy, and I just did the best I could. And I think that kind of brought me to where I am today with the OnlyFans. And it was like, you know, daddy issues. My dad died when I was a baby, and I had my daughter when I was 18, and it was like, okay, well, what the fuck, you know, what do I do now? And I got into abusive relationship, and I think that kind of led me to where I'm at today. Like, you know, sex work is so stigmatized, but I feel like, you know, I was on a bad path when I had my daughter, and I was like, you know, I want the best for her. I want to do whatever I can for her. And that led me down an 8-year road with some, you know, guy that wasn't all that.
Right.
It was just crazy. But, you know, I was on Instagram and I seen some girl that was like offering some coaching for like, oh, do you want to make money online? Do you want to do this shit? And I was always into like hustling, doing whatever I can to like make the best for my situation. And I was working at a hospital. I'm like, I want to get into the medical field. Like, I want to be a nurse. I want to do, you know, what I can to help people. But at the same time, it was like you're living paycheck to paycheck and just shit. You know, you're not where you want to be at. Like, I want to take vacations with my family, and I want to do stuff. I want to live that life and do whatever I can and give these kids that experience. But, you know, the funds are tight. So I saw some blonde girl. She's, you know, a bigger booty blonde girl on the Instagram scene. And she's offering coaching. Like, oh, do you want to make money online? Do you want to... You know, if you're pretty, if you're cute or whatever, you know, like DM me and I'll give you the information. And then it was like this coaching, and I'm like, you know what? I don't got the money. I don't have that type of money to be thrown down. But at the time, it was only like, what, $400 or something?
Okay.
But at the time, I'm like living paycheck to paycheck. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay that money to her and see what she says. I just want to know what she's talking about because she seems like she's got it all. And I pay that money, and she's like, okay, well, can you, like, are you okay with showing your body online? And I'm like, I don't know.
Well, if you just paid $400 for the OnlyFans advice, you got to be at least a little open to it, right?
But it wasn't even about that at the time. She was like, oh, you do this, like, fucking, you do this private Snapchat, and you do this Camp Soda.
Oh, yeah, right.
And you do, are you okay with showing your body? I'm like, I think I am, and I hated camming. I didn't like it at all. And then it was private Snapchat, and that was fine. And then OnlyFans came out, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try it. And I had my Instagram. Well, I ran through like 4 different Instagrams because they shut you down. They're hella biased.
It's wild.
It's fucking wild. They're hella biased. Like, I've had like 4. So I got on Instagram and got the OnlyFans, and I had like 300 fans.
Oh, wow.
But that was like full price. That wasn't before like free trials and stuff like that came out. But then I got on OnlyFans, and I'm like, I'm doing okay. And then I started like networking and stuff. And then it just grew for me because they like that, like, oh, I'm just the mom next door. I'm not nothing special.
That's what you feel like your angle is? That
I
you're just
think
kinda
it is
low-key?
like I'm really low key. Like, I'm super low key. I'm that mom next door. Like, I chat with all my fans personally.
Right.
So I give them that, like, neighborhood mom, like, experience.
The girlfriend
for sure.
experience?
The girlfriend experience for sure.
That's kind of sexy.
I
I'm
do.
just finding out about this.
I do. I talk to them every day.
You wanna know what's
and be
crazy?
like- and I chat with them. I send them pictures every day, like, how you doing? And it's like, I'm your girlfriend.
Yeah. Are these your kids that are here?
No.
Oh, I was just wondering. I was like, just starting to think. I'm like, I mean,
I was like, damn, I
I
was
just
boning
say
your
you're
mom.
Oh, so your kids are because I don't know. No.
But,
Is that weird?
well, no. It's my friend, but she's old enough. My friend and her daughter.
Oh, that's her daughter.
No, my daughter and her daughter.
Oh, your daughter and
Her daughter.
your friend's daughter.
Yeah.
Oh,
So the besties.
she laughed at me when I asked if it was her kid.
No. I mean,
I was so
She said it
confused.
was.
I was like,
only
No,
one
no,
of them is her
it's my
kid.
I'm like-
kid and her friend.
I'm
yes,
pretty
yes,
sure
yes,
that's your
yes.
twin with the pink.
No,
That to me-
yes, that is my twin and her friend. Yes.
That to me is, I mean, let's be real. On the last podcast, C-Mac ate rice out of an asshole.
Out of
No.
an acid.
Yes,
right.
no, my daughter and her friend.
I actually
I'm
feel kind
sorry.
of crazy about the fact that there were minors in the building for that.
I took my extra shot. I'm
I
sorry.
don't think they saw it.
I was like, holy fuck, it's getting wild.
That's pretty badass, though. Just the idea of a fucking mom coming on the Patreon and bring her kids, and then
No,
they're fully
because
formed
that's what it
adults.
is.
Ish.
Is honestly like, so there's so much stigma. You know that.
Yeah.
It's like every stigma is like, you're a fucking whore. You have you have kids. Like, how dare you have an OnlyFans?
Right.
But it's like, it's not about that. Like, I have my kids. What, you don't watch porn?
Yeah.
Or another thing is like other people like, oh, you have porn, but oh, you know what? Like, I have a boyfriend every 3 weeks and I leave my kid with them while I go to work. Like, it's just different things. Like, you can judge me for having an OnlyFans, but that doesn't make me a bad parent. And I think like the whole like parent aspect or kid aspect or like the stigma against people having an OnlyFans, it's not a bad thing. Like, people can judge you for having that, but I came from paycheck to paycheck to giving my kids, like, we go on vacations 2-3 times a year. We're going to Hawaii. We're going to Bahamas in October. Like, I'm giving my kids this best experience instead of living in poverty. And honestly, I've been single for almost 5 years. Like, I haven't had sex in over a year. Like, yes, I have OnlyFans, but that doesn't make me a whore.
I agree, man. I hate that shit. 'Cause,
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
I've
very pro.
well, I do porn as well. So
Yeah,
I'm
facts.
out here.
Exactly.
Shout out to
You
me.
know, like,
Shout out.
shout out to Adam.
I don't really be fucking girls with his wife.
I don't think you bumped it.
Well, do you guys do that? Like, I watch episodes because my daughter was like, because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go on this podcast, new Jumper. And my daughter's like, you're fucking going on with Adam 22, and I'm like, who the fuck's Adam 22?
I love
But
that.
I'm like, I fucking
fuck
binged.
this.
No, I binged episodes, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta be better than Black China for sure. But like,
That's easy.
but there was
All you
like an
gotta do is
episode,
show up.
and then I
Fuck
was
yeah.
like watching the Sophia episode. Like, I'm sorry, but like, Call Her Daddy. I watched that shit from the beginning. Sophia was like, I fucking loved her.
Oh, yeah?
She was badass. Like, I watched it for Sophia. She was like,
Interesting.
so I saw her on your show, and I was like, she's hella cool.
I haven't listened to the actual Call Her Daddy podcast enough to really
haven't?
like give a fuck about the other girl.
I watched it from the beginning, and they're just hella crazy. I love Sophia's story from fucking Utah with the Mormons and shit. Like,
Right.
she's cool.
yeah. No, she was tight.